What's poppin', guys? It's your boy Jay, that's me. So let's dive in and discuss NXT for May the 9th, 2023. This show, for the most part, was okay, at times decent. The only problem that I have with the show is that there were way too many matches. It was at least like maybe 8 matches. Shawn Michaels has to cut back on that. We didn't need at least 2 or 3 matches. I can think we did not need it all. So I don't know why he continues to book all these matches on a 2-hour show. It doesn't really need to take place. At best, we need at least 5 matches. At least 5. That's what I would do if I was booking things seriously. We are also slowly but surely building the rest of the card for NXT Battleground, and we have finally begun the tournament for the vacated NXT Women's Championship, which will culminate at NXT Battleground as well. So we kicked the show off with all 8 women standing in the entranceway, which was cool. So the competitors are as followed, and they all make sense here. That being Gigi Dolan, Tiffany Stratton, Roxanne Perez, Jacy Jayne, Cora Jade, Kiana James, Fallon Henley, and Lyra Valkyria. And they all, like I said before, make sense. And there's a rivalry with most of these. Gigi and Jacy, Fallon Henley and Kiana James, as well as Lyra Valkyria and Cora Jade, and the startup feud between Tiffany Stratton and Roxanne Perez. First match of the night. First round for the NXT Women's Title Tournament. Tiffany Stratton versus Gigi Dolan. Tiffany Stratton wins via the moonsault. This was a short match. Both women cut pre-tape promos. So Tiffany Stratton, she cut a promo, but she's ranting about how she shouldn't have to even compete in the tournament at all. And then Gigi, she has a pre-recorded promo as well, and she has harsh words for both Jacy Jayne and Tiffany Stratton. So I do like this. And then next week, Tiffany Stratton will take on the winner of Roxanne Perez and Jacy Jayne. Whoever wins that, I'm gonna go with Roxanne Perez, obviously, because we all know that Gigi's going to cost Jacy Jayne. Makes sense. So, Tiffany Stratton, she advances. Moving on. So, Gallus, they're backstage. And then enters Schism. They enter. So, Joe Gacy tells the Dyad that he sacrificed for them last week, and he is confident they will bring gold home tonight for a Roots One Tree. So the Dyad, they put their mask on and they head out to the ring. So Joe Gacy, he then stops Ava Raine and says he has taken her words of advice to heart, and he will not be joining them at ringside tonight as his attention needs to be directed elsewhere. But he tells her to guide the Dyad as he would. So I do like this. This makes a lot of sense. And later on in the show, Joe Gacy makes his presence known that he wants a shot at the NXT North American Championship, which is what I predicted anyway. That makes the most sense. Obviously, he's not going back into the main event scene anyway. Like, there's no way. at all. It wouldn't make any damn sense. Moving on. So, Trick and Melo, they're getting their haircut at the barbershop. So, Trick, he brags about how he'll put a beating on Bron Breakker tonight. Carmelo says Trick doesn't have to do this, but Trick says he does, and he's been training and working harder than ever. Trick goes on and says, yeah, he's doing this for Melo, but he's also doing it for himself to prove he's got what he's been saying all along. Trick says Melo's biggest test is defending at NXT Battleground. Everyone cheers Trick on as he heads out. So I do like this, and this is the main event of the show. So I do like this. This makes a lot of sense. Trick and Melo are best friends. Next, the Dyad versus Gallus for the NXT Tag Team Championships. Gallus, they retain. So Ivy Nile, she comes out and gets involved in the match because Ava Raine, she got involved towards the end of the match. So then the two of them, they brawl. They were separated by the Creeds. So I like this. This does make sense. I just hope that we either do the Creeds and Gallus or Stax and Tony D versus Gallus. We cannot do another triple threat. That doesn't need to happen. Enough of these damn triple threat matches. They make no damn sense at all. Stupid. So, we see a video from earlier on in the day with Thea Hale. She's hanging out backstage with JSU students. So, our boy Javier Bernal, he pokes fun at her for not being in the women's tournament. Duke Hudson shows up and apologizes for being late, but he was grading papers. Thea Hale, she's very excited for her paper that she got an 88 on, so a B+, which is decent. So Javier Bernal pokes fun at Duke for being so invested in JSU, grading papers, and everything else he's doing. Duke says Javi doesn't even go here. So he channeled his inner Bianca Belair, which is weird. He goes on and says he's just filling in for Andre Chase while he's away. So Duke asks Javi how dare he respect the good name of Duke, a.k.a. he means to say the good name of Chase University. Javier Bernal says Duke had a little slip of the tongue there. Duke goes on and says he's going to go and get a match made tonight with him and Javi to give him a good Chase, a good Andre Chase University ass whooping. So then Duke and Thea Hale, they're fired up. Cool. We all know that Duke is a heel anyway. We all know this. So this is all just a damn ruse. Like, it makes sense. Again, we have no idea where Andre Chase is. Maybe he's injured. Maybe he just wants to take time off. I don't know. He's not going to the main roster. So, I don't know. But we should see him eventually. So, we see a little mystery figure, a little video, watching the recent sneak attacks that involved Soruka, Wendy Chu, and Nikita Lyons. Interesting. I wonder who's behind those attacks. I wonder. And I really do, because I can't think of anybody that would make the most sense. I really can't think of anybody. I don't know. Nobody comes to mind right now. No one in that women's division comes to mind right now that's actually even believable or would remotely make any type of sense. So, Javier Bernal versus Duke Hudson. Duke Hudson gets the win via the Razor's Edge. So I do like that. Again, it sucks that Javier Bernal continues to be a jobber. I like Javi, but man, they're just jobbing him out. I mean, I like his gimmick. I get it. I understand it. But come on, Shawn Michaels. At least give the bro some wins. At least give Javier Bernal a couple of wins. Come on, man. He can't be a damn jobber to the stars. Who did he piss off backstage? Like, who? Because it don't make no damn sense at all. Like, Javi is decent. You know? He's solid. Moving on. So, Von Wagner and Mr. Stone, they're backstage. Hold up. I thought that Von Wagner was a free agent, quote unquote. Why is he still in NXT? Why is he not on Raw or SmackDown? Again, waste of a draft pick. Go figure. So, Mr. Stone agrees that it would be a good idea to do rapid fire word association to get to know Von Wagner better. Von's favorites hamburgers are bacon burgers. His favorite fries are chili cheese, and his favorite ice cream is mint chocolate, no cookies and cream. That's like his pops. Mr. Stone says pistachio, and then Mr. Stone shows the same picture of Von Wagner when he was a child with stitches in his head as a kid. Von says no. He told Mr. Stone he doesn't want to talk about it. So Lucia Crucifinoli appears, and he says something. He calls Von a freak, and then Von grabs him by his arm and slaps him and slams him against a stack of production cases. Von lets go, and then the guy dips out, and then he calls Von a freak, and then Stone looks at Von disappointed, and Von Wagner says pistachio, and then Von walks off, and then Mr. Stone looked at the photo again. So again, this is kind of interesting still. This kind of all makes sense to an extent, I guess. I don't know. What doesn't make sense is Eddie Thorpe. He just doesn't make sense. I don't get it. So, Eddie Thorpe versus Damon Kemp. Eddie Thorpe wins via a jumping elbow drop. Yes, he wins via a jumping elbow drop. What the hell is this? Really? A jumping elbow drop. Oh my God, what in the fuck is going on here? This makes zero sense. I don't get Eddie Thorpe, aka Carl Fredericks. I don't know what they can do with him. I really don't. But he ain't it. He's not it. It would have been better if he would have went to maybe Impact or MLW for just a year or two, a couple years at least, and then come to WWE. I think he may be in his early 30s, like 30 even or 31. But he could still, come in later on, just not now. I don't know, man. I mean, he's okay, but he's not getting over. And the only reason why he's getting over is because of, Eddie. I don't know. Don't know what to say about Eddie Thorpe, a.k.a. Carl Fredericks. Just don't know what to say. But a jumping elbow drop, that is a very, very anticlimactic way to win a match. I don't know. I don't know what Shawn Michaels was doing. Maybe he was smoking some weed. I don't know. Maybe he was on his Tony Khan coke stash. I don't know. Whatever the hell it was, a jumping elbow drop. Don't make no sense. Nah, man. So Kiana James, she's backstage with Mackenzie Mitchell talking about her first year in NXT. So Kiana James complains about her tournament spot and says whoever did the brackets did her no favors. She says she thrives under pressure. Just look at her last 12 months as they speak volumes, especially the last 5 or 6. Kiana James says she's done everything she's wanted to except win the NXT Women's title. She says, yes, her first year was incredible. But imagine how bigger year 2 will be as champion. Okay, like it. Even though she's not going to win, which she doesn't. So she fails in that regard. So Mackenzie Mitchell, she's backstage with Bron Breakker in the locker room. So she asks about the attitude change, and he says there's no change. He just stopped caring. Bron says he carried the NXT title, the NXT flag, and the weight of the brand. But what did it get him? Nothing. The fans made their choice in NXT champion Carmelo Hayes, and that's fine. But Melo is probably still picking the splinters out of his ass from the recent spear. Bron says if Mackenzie and anyone else don't like his attitude, then there's the door. He didn't ask for this interview. She did. Bron tells Melo, he gets into the camera, tells the camera guy to put the camera directly on him. Bron tells Melo that tonight he'll put his buddy, his best friend, in the same hospital he put Melo in. Bron says he'll see Melo at Battleground. So I do like this. This is great. Heel Bron kicks major ass. It sucks that he's not on the main roster right now, but he very well could be on the main roster in the next little bit. I don't know when that is, but maybe once this feud has concluded with Bron and Melo, they could put him on Raw or SmackDown. I think that would be tremendous. Actually, I'd put him on SmackDown. But heel Bron kicks major ass. Moving on. So, Ilja Dragunov versus Dijak. So, this was a DQ. This was a decent matchup. It's kind of weird because I despise Dijak. He's a piece of shit. But I despise him. But, you know, Ilja brought him to a solid match for the most part. So, Dijak brings a steel chair in the ring. He throws the referee down, starts whacking, starts beating up Ilja with the steel chair. And then post-match, Dragunov does a couple more chair shots. Then he tears apart the steel steps. And then Dijak puts the steel steps over Ilja. And he steps over him a couple times. And then the refs come down and separate everybody. So Dijak, he then talks trash to the camera and says he can do this to any man. I'm like, what the hell? Come on, dude. Yeah, right. You're just kicks and flips and no damn charisma. And you're tall and big for no damn reason. Get over yourself, Dijak. Moving on. So Tyler Bate, he's backstage meditating in a real smoky, hazy room. So Wesley comes in and says he hasn't seen this much smoke since he spent time with Matt Riddle. So Wesley thanks Tyler Bate for having his back last week and says he'll have Tyler Bate's back tonight. Lee says Charlie Dempsey and Drew Gulak are killing all the fun in NXT. So Tyler Bate's not listening to any of this at all. He's still in his lucid dreaming type of state. So Tyler Bate wakes up finally, and he asks if Lee was saying something because he was on the much higher plane he gets to. So they talk some more, and then they head out. So weird. I don't know why they're doing this new age shit with Tyler Bate. It doesn't make any sense. This is not going to get him over. It's just not, you know. I remember when they had Jinder on the main roster doing this this meditation stuff as well, you know. And I'm a big proponent of meditation, but we don't need it in pro wrestling. We just don't, you know. Not when it's overdone, like not in like a new age sense. So Danny Palmer, she's on a video earlier with Briggs and Jensen, Hank and Tank. So she's asking for pointers about her debut. You know, either like her debut, and she asking for some pointers. And so after this, for whatever reason, Tank and Hank wanted to face Briggs and Jensen, and I'm like, no, for the love of God, no. Oh my God, we did not need this match at all. And everyone shook on it. Both teams shook on it. Oh boy, oof. So Tyler Bate versus Charlie Dempsey. Dempsey gets the win here via a Dragon suplex. So towards the end of the match, Joe Gacy, he comes out and he appears. And he's staring down Wesley. So Tyler Bate then takes out both Gulak and Joe Gacy. And then through that distraction, that allows Charlie Dempsey to lock in the Dragon suplex for the 1, 2, 3. Again, a weird finish. Doesn't make any sense. So a Dragon suplex, yes, a Dragon suplex ended a match, as well as a jumping elbow. I don't know, Sean. I don't know what you're on, man, but it don't make any sense. And I get it. I mean, I would have even liked a roll-up better, but come on, just a basic Dragon suplex, and you can't get your shoulders off the mat from that? Just a basic Dragon suplex. I don't know. It seems like, I hate to say it, seems like we might get a multi-person match with the North American Championship, but once again, and I hate that shit. It's stupid. We don't need it. We don't need it. At all. So, we see a Twitter clip of Carmelo Hayes watching the Bron Breakker promo from earlier. So he says that he's going to head out to the venue for the main event, even though Trick Williams told him to stay back. So, moving on. So, Mackenzie Mitchell, she's backstage with Dragon Lee, asking about Noam Dar. Dragon Lee says Dar sees him as a threat, which is why he wanted JD McDonough to take Dragon Lee out. Dragon Lee says Dar only cares about himself and his Heritage Cup. Dar basically appears on the screen behind him. He talks some trash and invites Dragon Lee on the relaunch of Supernova Sessions, WWE's most loved and revered talk show. So he says Dragon Lee will be the envy of the locker room. It will be unique for Dragon Lee's career, skyrocketing up from the floor where it currently resides. Noam Dar says he awaits the response. Thank you and goodbye. And then Dragon Lee says he'll be there. Okay. This is interesting for the most part, but we have we have way too many talk shows. We have like 4 talk shows. The Grayson Waller Effect, Miz TV, that's going to be and those are on the main roster. And then we have 2 for NXT. We have, Supernova Sessions and Nathan Frazier's talk show. Harder Things or whatever it's called. Way too many damn talk shows. But it does get people over to an extent. What is not over with me and with this crowd is Brazen Jensen versus Hank Walker and Tank Ledger. So, thankfully, Brazen Jensen won, but who cares? Again, this was a waste of time. This didn't need to be on the card at all. Period. We didn't need this on the show at all. We could have X'd this out as well as X'd out Damon Kemp and Carl Fredericks, a.k.a. Eddie Thorpe. That would have been a lot better. So, we get a cool little vignette for Lyra Valkyria. She says, evolve or get left behind. She's been evolving, adapting, sharpening her weapons, and is not the same person who crossed the Atlantic last year, but she's still the Valkyria. The Valkyria who presides over this concrete jungle. She has 3 women marked on her route to the NXT Women's Championship, and tonight she starts with Kiana James. I like this. This is great. So, we get another episode of hard-hitting home truths. So, Nathan Frazier, he looks at the NXT guys who went to Raw and SmackDown. He says, how many spots have opened up, but for who? He names a couple people, including himself, Axiom, and a couple others. He says all this fighting among talents around the world gives a new meaning to world domination. Nathan Frazier talks about Noam Dar and their history. He laughs at what Dar did to Dragon Lee last week and goes on about how the Heritage Cup really is Dar's baby, but it's likely he won't have that baby much longer, and then his whole world will come crashing down. So apparently, Nathan Frazier has his eyes set on the NXT UK Heritage Cup. Makes sense. Like, why not? The second match in the first round NXT Women's title tournament. Lyra Valkyria versus Kiana James. Lyra Valkyria wins via the spinning roundhouse kick that she does. I like that. It's great. We then see Gallus there celebrating at the pub. So Tony D and Stacks, they walk up. They congratulate them, saying they won some money on betting on tonight's match. They have a few words. Tony says they just came to say they want the next title shot. Gallus, they then get aggressive and threaten them and tell them to leave. Tony says they'll leave, but Gallus is stateside now, and they need to watch who they threaten. Tony says they'll get their first title shot. And then Gallus has a couple of henchmen show up, a couple of bodyguards show up, and they surround Tony D and Stacks. So a fight's about to break out, but Stacks says Tony D were outnumbered, and then they dip out. Okay, so I like this, as long as it leads to maybe a one-on-one match, either with Gallus versus Tony D and Stacks, or Gallus versus the Creeds. That's what they have to do. Again, there's not much depth to the NXT tag division. There's just not. And then the main event, Bron Breakker versus Trick Williams. Bron Breakker wins via the Steiner Recliner. This was a solid match. I do like Trick Williams. He's got massive upside. Guy is massively over. Super over. I love me some Trick Williams. Now, Melo came out when Trick Williams was getting beat down post-match. So I loved how he let Melo do this how he let Trick do this on his own. So, Bron, he then goes in for another recliner in the middle of the ring. Carmelo comes out, makes the save. Melo is about to do a springboard move, but then he eats a massive spear. And then Bron picks up the title, looks at it, and says that he's coming for that title. it's coming back to him, and then we go off the air. So I do like this. It does make sense. I am excited for Bron Breakker versus Carmelo Hayes too. It seems like the rest of the card for NXT Battleground seems to be decent somewhat. Like, I'm pretty sure we're going to have Gigi Dolan and JC Jane on that card. And a couple other matches. You know, maybe Gallus versus Tony D and Stacks, or Gallus versus the Creeds. I don't know. This was a pretty decent show. What did you guys think? Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and comment down below. I'll catch you guys later. Shawn Michaels, please start making these shows have less matches. 5 matches max.
Tune in.